Hi everyone. Today's video is about using Excel VBA to create an automation to list out all the files name you have in a folder. So this automation is particularly useful when you have files that are daily ingested into certain folders where you would like to check if all the files have been saved in that folder correctly and none of the file is missing. So this automation will help you check the files that are saved in a particular folder. So if you have quite a number of files that you need to check daily to ensure that they are in the folder, then you can use this automation to help you to check the files. And it's a very useful automation, and uh, it's very convenient once you have this method to help you list file in folders. So basically, this Excel sheet is a macro enabled XLSM sheet, and here you can see there's a variable tab worksheet which we will use as a like a config sheet to list certain variables. Like the first one, B1, you can see is your file location that you want to check. So this is the root file of your location. In other words, if inside this folder there are nested folders, it will still be able to go inside the nested folders and retrieve out all the files that you want. So this automation is not only list file in one level, but it will recursively get files in a inner level or even more, 2 level down or 3 level down folders, subfolders. So the first one is the root folder here. So for my case here, you can see my root folder is here, this file in folder. So this is my root folder. So just for automation's sake, I create a subfolder here. So this subfolder inside will have files also, so you will be able to get all these files name also. So you will get all these file name and including those files that are here. So it's particularly useful when you have many subfolders. For example, in an organization, you may have folders that are listed by date. For example, set underscore 2025, etc. Or so the previous month will be August, AUG underscore 2025. So if you have in your organization, you have reports that are in this folder and you need to check whether the report are inside in the respective folders, this folder will go through all the folders and get the file name. So what file should we get? Sometimes you do not want to get all the file, right? You might want to get certain files, for example, like this training attendance, where you have a date here. You want to go by date because the training attendance file will come in with this format of saving the file name with a date behind. Like many organizations, they use this. Or you have a keyword that you want to use. So this date is also a keyword. So you may have other keyword that you want to use. For in this example, we will use Outlook as a keyword and also the date. I'll show you these two examples, how you can switch easily using the config file here. So as you can see here, the first one, B1, is the root folder path. The second one is your sheet name. So when it tabulate the file name, it will create new sheet every day. As you can see later, I will demonstrate. And within that sheet, it will have all the files that are in all the folders and subfolder of this B1 root folder. So this sheet name is quite flexible. You can change it accordingly, but it's best to change it in a incremental or order you where you need to sort the the sheet here, because later you can see that the VBA code, the last code, is to sort the sheet for you. So if you go by date, if the most recent date will be in front, Like if you later will have a 30th example, then the 30th sheet will be in front, the 29th sheet will be in second. So it's particularly useful if your sheets are in date format or a running number. So the B3 is just another additional example where you can extract the file name based on keywords. For in this case, I use Outlook as a keyword because in my folder, as you can see, there's a lot of Outlook folder that I created just for example. So the nested one is also here, Outlook. So maybe you have other folder, for example, data is a keyword, or dash reporting is a keyword, etc. and etc. Depend on your organization and your usage. So we back to this config file. So this is a keyword which I will demonstrate using these two. So this is a sheet name B2 and it's also one of the keywords that I will use later for this video demonstration. So now how we will take a look at the code behind. Just to make sure that this code is running smoothly for you guys, you need to enable this trust center here. It's under file option. So you enable this trust center here. Go to this trust center setting, and under macro setting, you need to enable this. Enable VBA macros. The last one, enable Excel 4.0 macros and VBA macros, and also the VBA project object model. You need to have this tick. Okay, so after that, you can click OK. So everything should be okay. So to create the button, you need the developer pack here. You need to insert button. Then just insert a button here, and you assign the macro here. You auto detect the macro when you have a 1. So in this case, you assign this macro. So this and this are the same button. I just do it for a demonstration here. So to enable this developer tab, you have to go to the home. Sorry, you need to go to file option under custom ribbon. You need to tick this developer here. So if this untick, for example, you need to tick it under the custom ribbon, Excel option, custom ribbon, developer tab, you tick it. Then we will have this button. You can insert this button here as a control for ease. So here I will demonstrate the automation first, or rather I will explain the code. Actually, the code has 3 sub procedure, and these 3 sub procedure you can get this code from my Git repo. I will put a link below the video. You can download and copy this VBA code and paste it into your VBE editor, VB editor here, right? So you can create a module, you can paste here. So basically there are 3 subroutine. This is the main one, right? Followed by, this is the list file recursive. This is the part where you will go into folder and subfolder to get all your file name. And the last one is to sort the sheet. So these 2 sub procedure are inside this main procedure here called list file in specific folder. So now I shall go through this code quickly. So first we define the variables, the row number. So we'll start from row 2. Later you'll see why, because row 1 is the header of the file name of the record. So we start from row 2. So later we'll define as row 2. FSO is a file system object that VBA use to create a folder and to create objects. So we define a folder as an object also, and we define the config sheet name, which is this file here, as variables. We can change it to other name as you like, right? You can change it to other name as you like. but here I'll use variables. So this is where I put a configuration as variable and I throw it into my folder path. So this will get all the variables. The folder path is in B1, my sheet name is in B2, and my keywords is in B3. So it's very convenient. The user can just change here to their liking and the code will still run accordingly. So it's more dynamic and it's more flexible. So B1, B2, B3, these are the variable here. So we get the variable and put it under folder path, sheet name, and keywords. So after that, we create the folder by setting up the object. And then we have this error handling. If anything wrong, it will just jump to here and tell you that there's something wrong with the folder, be it permission or connection or whatever. So it's just an error handling. You can just remove it if you don't want it. The message box is just to tell you the folder path. You also can remove it if you don't want it. So you set the folder as an object, FSO. You set FSO as an object first. Then you set a folder using FSO, the object holder, and you use the method getFolder to get the folder path, and you initialize the row number to be 2, which will list the file name from row 2 onwards in the Excel sheet. So this one is to reset the error. So this set the error handler to go to a particular error handling section. The go to 0 will reset it to nothing. So after which we have defined the folder, we will check the sheets. We will handle the sheet. So we define a worksheet, and this worksheet will check whether the worksheet name is already present. If it's present, it will just come out with a message box telling you that the sheet name exists. If it doesn't exist, it will just create the sheet name using the sheet name here, which is defined in here, variable. And this sheet name, why I put it in terms of date is because it's dynamic also. As you can see here, it's a formula. It's now -1 year, month, day. So if tomorrow, if you open this file, right, tomorrow is the 1st of October. So this will become 30th. So it will be dynamic. It's for those files that you need to check on a daily basis. So the date is incremented automatically. But you can also control it here by changing the formula. You change to 0, it will just be today. If you change it to +1, it will be tomorrow. Right, so it's very flexible, but I just change it to 0 first. So I just change it to -0. Yeah, so you'll be back to 30th, which is today. So this is very dynamic for the user to change. So we back to the code here. So you'll create the sheet here. If it doesn't have, if it have a sheet, it will display a message box. So after you create the sheet already, you will need to clear the sheet content. Just in case there's a sheet already with some files and you need to update again to run the code again using the same date and overriding the same sheet. So this will clear the content of the sheet and you will rename the sheet header into your sheet name, your file name, your file path, date created, and date last modified. So this will be the first row. So the file listing will start on the second row. That's why we initialize the row number to 2. So after we have settled the sheet name, we will call the recursive function here, which will pass the folder defined above, the row number, start at 2, the sheet name that is going to populate, and also the keyword. This keyword is to, later I'll show you to trigger between different keyword. You can get the file name based on different keyword. Just a demonstration purpose. So I pass another variable keyword here, which is defined and at the top here, keyword B3. So the keyword I will use today is Outlook. You can use other keyword that your file name is named. Okay. For example, October, December, any keyword. So we'll go to the recursive part. So basically this recursive will go into the main root folder, and you'll see any files that have it there, then you will check that the file name will have the keyword or the sheet name that you define here. If it have, then you will copy the file name, the path, the date created, and the date last modified, the metadata of the file, into your sheet. Later you shall see in the demo. Then after that, you will increment the row number and you will repeat until it's finished. After it's finished, you will recursively go into the subfolders. So for each subfolder in folder dot subfolder, so the folder is your main folder, that subfolder, you will call this recursive again and go in. So if there's another layer, you will come out and you will loop this again, recursive. So it's a file listing automation for root folder and their subfolders. So you keep on checking all the folder that's inside. So this is how it works. So after it lists all the folder, it will sort the sheet for you to based on the in our case we use the sheet name as a date. So it will sort 202500903. Then if I have 0929, it will be in front of 0930. So that's why I use date so that I can sort it. So the latest one will always be in front. So now I shall show you the demonstration. As I mentioned just now, this code, right, for this tree sub will be you're able to download and copy through my Git repo, which I list the link below this video. It's in the form of a text file. So it's a very safe file. So you can just download and copy and paste it into this module in your VBE. Then you can change it accordingly to suit your automation. You can change the variable accordingly from this config sheet here. So now here I have commented out this part where we use the keyword. Instead, we will get a file with the date. So here, later I will comment out this and I will enable this and I will run again. Then you can see what I mean. So now we will get the file based on this date. Any file that have this date, please list it out and put it into a new folder with this folder name 20250930, which is today's date. So without further ado, I shall do the automation here. I shall delete this button first. Just now I created just for sample sake. Now I delete it. Right. So now I click the button. So you tell me the folder. You can remove this message box if you don't want it also. Then it will tell you it has completed. This file completed. Okay, so basically it created a folder using this folder name here, and it lists out the file with this date as a file name. So if you go into my folders, you can see that there's only one file with 20250930 here. Report 20250930, and this this outside here you don't have any that is 20250930. You have 0929, but you do not have 0930, which I want it as a file name. So here is only one file. So if I change it to -1, so now you'll get all the files that has 20250929. So now I shall run the automation again. You'll create a new sheet with this file name 20929. Okay. Okay, so now you can see it sort the sheet for you. The 209291 one is in front. And now we have all the files that are with the 0929 in the file name. And this is the file path. This is the date created. This is the date modified, last modified. So this is 020930. And this is 0929. This is 0930. So this is how the automation will work. So if I add another 20250928, right? So now I change it to 0928 minus 2. And I add a file inside here. Sorry, here. I add a file inside this subfolder. Copy and paste. And I rename it to 28. Sorry. So close it first. Rename it to 28. 28, and I run the automation again. Run. Change it to 28 already here. Okay. So you can see now the file is not sort yet. When you click OK, it shall sort for you and put 28 in front. So you still have the file name, the link, the path, and the date, the metadata. So this is the automation. And now we use keyword, just a quick demo. So I shall, instead of date, I want to get on the file with this Outlook keyword. And I want the file name to be another file name, maybe text. Maybe I'll use the same file name just for easy demonstration. So I shall overwrite this later. You can see that 28 now is getting a 28 data. So I shall use this file name, this sheet name from B2, and I will get the file with all the Outlook keywords. So now I shall go back to the code and I just comment out the code. Here, this I enable, the top I disable, right? Save it, and I go back here. So you can see that later the 282 file will have all the Outlook, the files with the Outlook keyword. So now I shall run the code. Tell you the file. So this sheet already exists. So you will clear out the file and you will list all the file. So you can see now with when you use the keyword with Outlook, and all the file with the Outlook will be retrieved with the same metadata here. So this automation will help you to list all the files that you need to check whether is it in a particular folder. And this is particularly useful for everyday automation where you have Excel or any data, any file that's pumped into certain folders. You need to make sure, do a completeness check and make sure that all the files are there. So you can use this Excel macro to do your automation. So you'll be easy for you and more productive. So guys, I hope you find this video useful for your automation. And if you like this video, please give a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And the VBA script will be found in my GitHub repo, which I will list below. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video.